This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is where we are. We have written a JSON file yesterday and we said that okay fine, there are some car details and etc. Let's open that JSON file. So I'm just copying the path of the JSON file. I'm going to my VS Code and I'll just open this folder if it is not open again. Okay, let's see. So the folder isn't open, so I'll just say open folder, and here I'll just put in my path here. This is the folder that I want to work in, and I'm just going inside this folder, and this is the file that I'm working on, which is the car info.json file, where we said okay fine, we have different cars and etc. And we have seen how do you filter it or what do you do using a PowerShell script. Now guys, one humble request out here is that please make sure to write this PowerShell script on your own. The reason I'm not sharing this script with the reason that I'm not saving or sharing the script is so that you can try it on your own, because if I share it, if you just copy those lines, right, it would not be a lot beneficial out here. Okay, so at line number 3 I opened up something known as cars. That's an array, and I have defined multiple objects inside the array, and I am using a PowerShell script in order to read this array and print out something saying that okay fine, the car name is so and etc. Now what if I want to write the same script for Azure, meaning I now have something like different teams, 3 different teams out here. Instead of 3 different brands, I have 3 different teams out here: the development, the QA, and let's say the DevOps team. Okay, 3 different teams out here. The development team wants a storage account to be, let's say, in LRS in a region called North Europe. Okay, the QA team wants the storage account to be, let's say, in GRS and the region to be in East US2. DevOps wants it in LRS again, the region to be something like West US or something like that. And each and every team has a different requirement for the storage account, meaning now I am talking about the configuration values, or I'm talking about, let's say, the configuration of my infrastructure. So very importantly, then how do I save my infrastructure? How do I basically save my infrastructure in JSON? So what I'll do is I'll again basically write a file. Now instead of car info.json, I'll say storage configuration.json. So very simple JSON file again. I'm saying it's a .json extension, and now I'm opening up the braces to define that this is a JSON object inside which I'm saying it is, instead of car details, I'll say storage details. I'm saying storage details, and I'll say colon, open and close square brackets, defining that this is an array of objects because there are 3 storage accounts that I want to define. Sure, what I'll do again, I'll open the object out. So this is the declaration, this is the way I declare it. I open the object out again and I say team. I'm saying team, and I can give a team known as development team. If I want to write another property here, what should I do, guys, after team? If I want to, let's say, write the name of the storage account, what should I do here? Comma and then enter and then define the key value pair. So this is all key value pairs. So I'm doing a comma, entering here, and I'm saying name of the storage account or name, just a name out here. I'll say since it's develop, I'll say dev stor store xyz abc 000, something like this. And I am saying okay fine, I want to also define the location of this particular storage account where I want to create this and etc. And I would say it is location, and I will say the location here is North Europe because the development team wants it there. And I'm also defining the replication model, which is the SKU. So I'll say SKU name standard underscore LRS. And access tier, I want all the storage accounts to by default be in a hot access tier and etc. So these are, let's say, some mandatory parameters that I need. This is for one particular team. Now I want another team out here. I'll say it is a QA team. So I'll say this is name is QA. Storage account name is something like QA, something like this. This is East US2, and this is standard GRS. And finally, I'll say DevOps. Guys online, if you're not speaking, can you please go on mute? Ashok, can you please go on mute if you're not talking? Finally, I'm defining another block of elements which will define the configuration values for a team known as DevOps team. So same thing, I'm just copying this out, and now I'll say I'll just change this to what DevOps, and I'll say it is DevOps storage account, something like this, and we need it in something like central US, and configuration to be in standard LRS. So I am making sure to save all my infrastructure in a JSON format right now. Now, if you, let's say, right now I'm just assuming that all these three storage accounts will be created in, let's say, only one particular resource group. If, let's say, I want it even in a different resource group, I can declare the value of the resource group here. So let's also do that. If, let's say, I want these three storage accounts to be sitting in different resource groups as well, I'll say RG name. I'll say dev RG. We'll also have an RG name here. QARG, I need a value known as a QARG here. So three different resource groups. So three different storage accounts in three different resource groups. And I'm saving everything in this particular file. Again, RG name, I'll say DevOps RG. So I'm just writing my entire configuration. Just format my document and I'll save this out. So I'm saving this document right now. Now what I want to do is that I want to store all this configuration. I now want a PowerShell script to read through it, read through each and every line, and then help me create something like a storage account inside a unique resource group. Okay, so let's write an end-to-end script for this. So let me open up my PowerShell here. And once, the first thing that I'll do is that I'll firstly see how the data is getting from me. I mean, how am I getting the data? For which what I'll do is that I'll just shift into the same path. So I'm just clicking on this file and I'll say copy path. I'll say CD. This is the entire path that I have. And I have just gone into that path. Now what I'll do is I'll say dollar JSON data, something like this, a value here. I'm saying is equal to, how should I read this file, guys? Get hyphen content, right? So let's do get hyphen content hyphen path dot backslash storage details dot JSON. This is just a content, so I'm just saying okay, fine, execute it, and I just want to see how I am getting this. So I'm able to get the content, right? So I'm able to get the JSON file. Whatever I've written in the JSON file is getting reflected here. Now in order to convert this into a language that PowerShell understands, then what should I do here, guys? Pipe and then convert from JSON. Okay, convert from hyphen JSON. So I'm converting the entire object into a language what PowerShell can understand. And I'll say okay, fine, execute this. And now let's see what is there in the JSON data. JSON data now consists of all these values. It says storage details and it's an array. That's what it is telling, that okay, fine, this is an array and you have a key value pair. Now what I'll do out here, in order to just see if the details are coming out properly, I'll say dollar JSON data dot storage details, because this is the property that I want to look at, which is called storage details. So storage details out here is this. Whatever is there inside this, whatever is there inside this particular array, whatever objects are there inside this array, I want to type it out, I want to print it out. and this is what I have. It says team is development, name is something, location is something, so on, so on. So I have all the properties right now, which are stored in this particular value known as JSON data dot storage details. Now what I'll do is that against this particular value, I will just assign a dummy variable, something like storage details is equal to something. I'll say storage details is equal to JSON data dot storage details. This is what I'm doing. So whatever I got here, I am just storing this into a value, because every time I don't want to do a dollar JSON data dot storage details and etc. Every time I don't want to do that. So for convenience, I'm just storing the entire thing. I'm just storing the entire object into the dollar storage detail. So whatever dollar JSON data dot storage detail had will be saved in this particular variable known as dollar storage details. Now I'm able to get all these things out here. Right. So let's do one thing before even we start building our infrastructure. I want to type out what are the values out here. Okay. So in order to type each and everything, what should I do now, guys? Loop. I need to make sure that I loop over it, and I use something like a for each loop, and I do a write host. Inside the for each loop, I'll do a write host. So what I'll do right now is that I'll say for each open close parenthesis, open close flower brackets. This is the syntax of it. And inside the for each, I'm now giving a condition telling that for each dollar object, I'm just taking a value. I'm just taking a random value out here. I'm saying dollar object in dollar storage details. And I'll say, okay, fine, I'll use a line separator here. I'll say write host. Just do a line here. And I'll say, I'll type out all the details right now. I'll say write host. Team is, what should be the team, guys? How do I print the team right now?
Object dot.
Dollar object dot team. So
Yeah.
dollar object dot then team. In the same way, I'll say the team is this one, the name of the storage account being created. The name of the storage account is dollar of what? Dollar object dot name. Dollar object dot name. So I'm printing out each and every element out here. And I'm saying, let's type this out also. Let's say light host. The location is dollar of dollar object dot location. In the same way, I'm doing multiple write host statements out here. I'll say the region, or let's say the replication model is, or the replication tier is dollar of again dollar object dot what? What should be the replication tier here? How should I print out the replication tier here? Anyone? So for team name, I said dollar object dot team. For location, I'm saying it is dollar object dot location. Now I also want to see the replication, whether it's LRS, GRS, whatever it is. SKU name, right? Dollar object dot SKU name, because that's the property which has all these things out. SKU name, and finally I'll say resource group. The RG is dollar of what? Dollar object dot RG name. Okay, I'm doing this, and I'll just execute my entire script once again. I'm able to get some output, right? It's saying the team is development, and for the development team, we said that the name of the storage account should be something like what? dev str something like this. That's what it's getting printed out. Location is North Europe. Replication tier is standard LRS. RG is what? Dev. So now if I want to start writing my script, now I have just printed out all these values. Now I want to go ahead and build my infrastructure. Now I am starting with nothing. So if I look into my resource groups out here, there are no resource groups at all. So in order to create my entire infrastructure, what is the first thing that I need? Okay, you need to, I already have connected resource groups. So I can do a new -az resource group command. But even before doing that, I want my script to be reusable. So yeah, I am for each. Like it is for each right now. I'm inside the for each loop. For each loop is printing everything out. So I'm inside the loop. The loop started at line number 5, it's ending at line number 13. Everything inside the for each loop is being captured in something known as $object. I'm inside the for each loop. Now I firstly want to basically create a resource group. But even before I create a resource group, I want to get and check whether the resource group is existing or not. If it is existing, I'll skip the creation. So I'm doing an entire script right now. So I'll say starts here, commenting out, and I'm saying at line number 15, do this, and I'm saying let's say at line number 15, $RG status, taking a value, and I'm saying get hyphen AZ resource group hyphen the name of the resource group. Right, that's what it is here. So let's do a hyphen again. I'll say name. What should be the name here, guys? What should I pass the name? RG name.
Dollar
Dollar
object name.
$object dot RG name will be the name of the resource group that I want to check right now. I'll say $object dot RG name. RG name. So I am checking for that particular RG, and I will say error action currently continue. Okay. Now I am still inside the for each loop. I have not come out of the for each loop. I am still inside it because the for each loop is holding all my configuration right now. And I will say if $RG status is equal to null, $null. When can this be null, guys? If there is no RG or if this command is not returning any RG with that particular name, I'll say write host RG with the name $of $object dot RG name not found. Attempting to create a new one or creating a new one. And finally, in the if loop, I am giving a command to create a resource group. So what is the command to create a resource group here, guys? New hyphen AZ resource group. So I'll say new hyphen AZ resource group. And I'll say hyphen name of the resource group. What should be the name here again? $object
Dot
dot RG name.
name.
Hyphen location. What should be the location here, guys? $object dot location, because that's the value which is holding my location and everything. So I'll say $object dot location, and I'll also say else. So what should be in the else statement? Is already existing, so I won't create one. So I'll just write something here and I'll say write host RG with the name of $object dot RG name already exists. in the creation. So I'm skipping the creation of this particular resource group, and until here, from line number 17 to line number 27 is where I am creating the resource group, and I'm still inside the for each loop. If you'll observe, I'm still inside the for each loop right now. Now I want to go ahead and create the storage account, and even before I create a storage account, I want to check whether that particular storage account exists or not. So I'll use the same logic again, but this time I'll do a bit different thing. I'll say it is storage details, str detail or str status is equal to, how should I check whether the storage account is existing or not? Get hyphen az storage account. So let's do a get hyphen az storage account. We'll expect values like resource group name, and the resource group name will be something like what? Dollar object dot rg name. If a name, and here what should be the name of the resource group, guys? Sorry, name of the storage account, guys. Dollar object dot name. So I'm saying it is dollar object dot name. And finally, I'm giving an additional parameter called error action. I'm saying silently continue, because if the storage account is not there, I will anyway choose create it. I don't want you to throw an error here. Again, the same thing. I'll say if dollar storage status strt status is equal to null. I'm saying okay, fine. Right host storage account with the name dollar of dollar object dot name doesn't exist. Creating one. Same whatever I've done for RG, I'm doing the same thing for my storage account, and I'm saying new hyphen az storage account. Storage. Say resource group name is what? Dollar object dot rg name hyphen name of the storage account is what? Object dot name SKU name standard LRS dollar object dot what? Let's say dollar object
name.
dot SKU name. Location dollar object dot what? Dot location. Finally, I want all, let's say, in kind and storage v2. So this is something that I'm hard coding. Finally, access tier in hot. This is what I'm doing. So I'm saying okay, fine. This is all my script. I'm going ahead and doing a new hyphen az storage account. I'm saying resource group again is dollar object dot rg name. Name is object dot name. SKU name is something like this. So whatever properties that I'm getting from object, I'm making use of this property inside this command right now. And finally, I'll say else storage account with this name already exists. So skipping the creation. Else we can close this command here. The right host storage account with the name dollar of what? Dollar object dot name already exists. This is skipping. Okay, I'm saying skipping creation. So it's an end-to-end script right now, which will go ahead and read a JSON file. We'll go ahead read a JSON file. Understand that okay, fine. These are the values for my JSON file, and now it will go ahead and let's say create the resource group and create something like the storage account inside the resource group. Now, one quick thing out here that I want to enhance is that This is the line where the storage or the resource group is getting created, right? This is the line where resource group is getting created, right? Now, if you're creating a resource group in PowerShell, for the portal to understand that the resource group is already created, it might take around somewhere 2 to 3 seconds. But what I'm doing is that without giving a break, I'm going ahead and creating a storage account out here. Let's say if the portal doesn't understand, this command might fail. This command here, which is creating a storage account inside the resource group that is already created, might fail because it might not find the resource group. So what I want to do is that whenever the resource group is created, I want to just pause my script for about 2 to 3 seconds. Just give that break and then again, continue with that. How do I do that? Is that this is the line which is creating the resource group, right? After this line, I'll say start hyphen sleep. I'm going for a sleep. I'm saying seconds. Just give a 3 second break. This is how you basically pause your scripts. Okay. Now I'll say okay, fine. Control A. Let's do a CLS in here. Now it is telling okay, fine. This is the storage. I mean, this is the these are the details. Firstly, it's printing out the details. It's telling the RG with the dev RG not found, creating a new one. It went ahead and created something known as a dev RG in North Europe. Took a 3 second break. It went into something known as storage account with this name doesn't exist, creating one. Now it's going ahead and creating a storage account. So this will happen for 3 times because I have what 3 storage accounts or 3 teams that I'm accommodating with this particular JSON file. Now, in case let's say a team comes in and says, you know what, I don't want the storage account, or let's say if you want to add a new team, you don't have to do anything with your script right now. You just have to change the JSON file. Just have to add another block into the JSON file. And I don't even have to touch my script. I don't even have to look at my script. So if I give this script to let's say an end user and ask them to okay fine, play around with it, they can now take this JSON file and just they can add into the JSON file and they can execute the script. This is how we normally do it. Okay, now it's saying okay fine QA. It's going ahead and creating something in the QA RG and etc. And it says okay fine, the team is DevOps. The RG name is not found. Go ahead and create something in the DevOps RG, and it went ahead and firstly created the resource group, taking a 3 second break, coming back. It's saying okay fine, storage account with this name doesn't exist, so I'll go ahead and let's say create a new one. This is how we basically write an end-to-end scripting with the every knowledge that we had. So we said we are just using just a few loops out here for each if, that's it, if else. These are the 2 loops that we are using, and we're able to basically create and go ahead and create something like this. Okay. Any questions still here, guys? What we are doing, how we are doing it, and etc. Is everyone able to sorry, is everyone able to follow this out? Now what happens if I execute the script again? Will it fail? What will happen if I execute the script again? Anyone? They'll say it will already exist. It will not fail. So if I now say executing the script again out, RG with the name already exists, skipping creation. QA, RG with the name, skipping creation. DevOps, RG with the name, skipping creation. So this is how it is now executing it out. Now, if you have a 4th team that is coming into picture and saying, okay, fine, we also want something like this, you just have to add that team here. For the 4th team, it will go ahead and create it. It won't skip it. Okay. So I have written everything inside a for each loop. Like everything that I've done, the for each loop started at let's say line number 5, ending at line number 46. Everything that I'm doing is within this particular for each loop. Okay, everything that I'm writing is within this particular for each loop, and this is how my for each loop is now helping me out to build the infrastructure out. Okay. Now we call this as saving the state of a configuration or saving the state of our infrastructure. Is let's say tomorrow if your entire infrastructure is, let's say, swiped out, wiped out, someone goes ahead and deletes it out, you have the configuration saved somewhere. You have a script which can build this infrastructure immediately for you. Okay. So this is the biggest advantage of having a JSON file and reading through a JSON file, and how do you iterate it. So we began with something like as simple as a car info. We said, okay, fine, we'll just read the car info, we'll see how we can get the car information, etc. And today we are doing what? We are saying, okay, fine, what if in the case of car I have storage details and I now want to go ahead and create something. If I now go into let's say the Azure portal, I have three different resource groups created in three different locations with storage accounts inside it with different tiers with different SKUs and etc. This is what I was able to achieve. Okay, guys. Any questions here? Anyone? Any questions? Anyone, guys? Any
Can
questions? Online, offline? Anyone? Hmm?
yeah, I have one
Yeah.
question, sir. Can you please
Yeah.
repeat
Please.
the sleep condition?
Which condition? I'm sorry.
Sleep
I didn't get you. I'm sorry.
cause
This condition, if else, or like which one you're using? Which one you're talking about?
sleep.
She is asking
Oh,
sleep
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 condition.
condition.
Okay, okay. Sleep condition is this is where I use the sleep condition out here. So what will happen generally is that if you use a new -az resource group command and create something on the Azure portal, it will usually take somewhere around 5 to 6 seconds for the Azure portal to understand that okay, fine, I have a resource group created. Now, what is happening is that okay, fine, I'm telling this command might take somewhere around what 5 to 6 seconds to create a resource group. So as and when I'm creating, if I don't have a sleep command here, what will happen is that the script will go into the resource group creation. The script will go into the resource group creation, and the time gap between the line number 20 and the line number, let's say 35, is just milliseconds. It'll just go there and it'll try to create something known as a storage account out here. And if it doesn't find a resource group here, because I haven't given a 5 second break, it might not find a resource group. It might throw an error telling that, you know what, I'm not finding the resource group. Please create one and then create a storage account. This is the issue. So that's the reason what I did is that I use the sleep command here inside the if loop, meaning if will happen only if the RG status is null. When can the RG status be null? If this command is not returning me any value, meaning I'm creating something. Only if I'm creating, I'm going ahead and defining a sleep statement there. Okay, this is how I'm defining a pause inside my script. Does that answer your question?
Yes, got it. Okay.
Any more questions, guys? Online, offline? Anyone?
Yeah, yeah. One question.
Yeah, sure. Go
So,
ahead.
we can do the same thing
Hmm.
by declaring the arrays and by using for run defense loop. So
Correct.
I feel that by using the same, so we can reduce the number of lines of the script, right? If that is so,
Not really. So let's say even if I do use an array, I mean, even if I do use, let's say, or declare an array here, something like, let's say, storage names. I'll say add the rate something. So whatever I am declaring in this particular JSON file, I'm just replacing this JSON file with the PowerShell script only. Yes, you are partly right that you can reduce the number of files because I don't need a JSON file right now. I don't need to read a JSON file here. But what is going to happen is that tomorrow when a team wants to add, let's say, their configurations, they will have to edit this particular PowerShell. If they edit this PowerShell, right, if they miss any comma or if they miss anything out there, declaration while declaration inside a PowerShell script, because PowerShell is syntax specific, and if they, let's say, miss something, then the entire script is going to break. Then you need someone again to kind of fix that particular script. Instead of which, this is an easy way in order to accommodate different teams. Okay, does that
okay.
answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it throws error. Mhm. Debugging, right? So PowerShell enables you something known as a debug mode out here. So you can do a debug also. There is something known as debug here. You can say, like, just place your cursor somewhere. You'll need to set a breakpoint out here. So I'll say, okay, fine, run and continue, and I'll just stop the script out right now. And once I stop this out, you'll have an option to set a breakpoint out here. So you can say a breakpoint, and you can say, okay, fine, I mean, I have to save this entire file. So that's the reason I'm not able to see all these options. I'll have to save this file, something like, let's say, let me do that. Let me save this file as test.ps1. I already have a test.ps1, is it? Okay, fine. Let's do storage.ps1. I'll say toggle breakpoint. Okay, this is the breakpoint that I want to set, and I will say, okay, run. Now it says, okay, fine. Let me do one thing. Now it's in a debug mode right now, and if I want to go forward, I'll say, okay, fine. Step into next line. And the easiest command to hear is like step into is F11. So I can say function F11 on my keyboard because I'm using a let's say function keys and etc. Now it came in storage details. It's a line by line execution. Now here what you can do is that you can now see now when what is the best use case scenario of this is that when my script is breaking, I don't really understand where I'll have thousands of lines of scripts, right? So if I need to understand where it is breaking, how it is breaking, and etc., then I can use something known as a debugger. So in debugger, what I'm doing is that I'm setting a breakpoint. So how do I set a breakpoint? Is that firstly, I saved my file. Okay, I saved my file. I put my cursor at line number 1, went into debug, and I said, okay, fine, toggle breakpoint F9. After that, I am now running my script, and now it is running in a debug mode, line after line. I can now say, okay, fine. Like what is the command there? F11, right? So let's say F11. It's going into the line. Now it's saying, okay, fine, I'll execute this line. And after I do an F11 here, it's giving me a line breaker. Then I can do F11, 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 and it's going to give me everything. This is how I can set my debug points, and this is how I can debug my script in case if, let's say, I have an issue and etc. Does that answer your question? There, guys.
Kiran, one question. Hello.
Sorry, I think there was an issue with the internet. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah,
Can I ask
please
the
go ahead.
question right now? Yeah,
Yeah,
so
please go ahead.
now we are checking that I know. So yeah, if condition, right? So we are checking
Mhm.
resource group, right? So is there? I mean, can we check resource group and then the storage account both at a time? Like in if condition, like RG status equal to null, and
Mhm.
uh, storage account is also equal to null. Both the
I mean,
conditions,
you say
right?
multiple if conditions here. You can do that. So inside the if condition, I can say multiple conditions here. For example, RG status equal to null, yes, and dollar storage status is equal to null. So I can specify multiple conditions out here inside the if you want to check multiple conditions out here. But in my use case scenario, I said firstly I'll create a resource group. So that's the reason I did not specify multiple if conditions here.
Okay.
So I did not specify multiple conditions inside the if.
Yes. In line number 19, right? So we have used dollar object dot $rg name, right?
Right.
So instead of that, can we use like RG status directly because it is holding the value of object RG name, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can we use that RG name, RG status instead of that?
No, the point is that this will go inside the if loop only if the RG status is null. So you will not have anything in the RG status.
Okay, got
So
it.
if it
Yeah,
is going inside the if loop, right? So RG status is null.
got it. Understood.
So that's the reason I'm not using anything in the RG. That's the reason I'm not using the RG status here.
Yeah, thanks, Kiran.
Okay, any more questions here, guys? Okay, then one thing out here is that now we have, let's say, went ahead and created multiple storage accounts out here. Now coming back to the other day assignment, I said we need 3 storage accounts. I have 3 storage accounts. I'm not creating it again. I need, let's say, somewhere around 3 or 4 containers in each. In each storage account, I need 3 or 4 containers. And inside each container, I want to go ahead and upload my file. Okay, so can anyone give me a hint on how to do this? What can we, how can I write my script right now? So I have 3 storage accounts right now. So let me go to the portal back again. 3 storage accounts. I want to firstly get all the names of the storage account. Wherever I want to upload the containers or wherever I want to create the container, I want to first get all the storage account names. So what is the command here, guys, to get the storage account name? So I'm opening up a new tab here because it's a new script. So what is the
Get,
command to get the storage accounts?
RG
get
status.
get
Get
Okay, okay. RG status is equal to what? Get hyphen AZ
hyphen
storage
RG.
account. I'll say get hyphen AZ storage account because I'm getting the storage account out here. Resource group name, I'm not passing anything because there are 3 different resource groups out here. Not passing anything and not passing the storage account name as well. What if I execute this out without any parameters? Getting everything? So getting everything in my subscription. I'm getting an entire object here. It's saying storage account name, resource group name, primary location, everything. I don't want all these things. I just want the name of the storage account. How can I do that, guys? Dot storage account name. I'll say open, close, dot what? Storage account name. That's it. And I am saving this inside a variable called storage account names. Okay. It has storage account names. Now I want to do for each dollar storage in dollar storage account name. What do I want to do? I want to create a container. And if I want to create a container firstly, what should I have? Anyone? I want to create a container inside the context. I need a context value. How will I get a context value here? Resource group name and etc. And then dot context. So let's do that. Let's say dollar context is equal to get hyphen busy storage account hyphen resource group name should also be in an array. So I am not like right now writing the resource group name out here because there are 3 different resource groups out here. So I also need to store all the 3 different resource groups inside the array. So I need resource groups as well here. So what I'll do is I'll say rg names is equal to get hyphen az resource group. ROUP dot resource group name is the only thing that I need, only parameter that I need. I'm just executing these two. So RG names is consisting what? Okay, let's execute this. RG names is consisting what? All the RG names. Resource group is consisting what? Sorry, resource group is consisting, RG names is consisting all the resource group names. Storage account names is consisting what? All the storage account names. Now here for each loop might not be the best fit. I'll do a for loop because I have multiple loops out here. I'll do a for condition and I'll say for I is equal to 0, $I is less than what? What should be the count here?
Dollar
Dollar
RG
storage
name.
or dollar? Exactly. Dollar $RG names or dollar storage account. Anything can be the parameter. I'll say dollar $RG names dot count. I'll say dollar $I plus plus. So I initially want to get the context. So I'll say context is equal to get hyphen AZ storage account hyphen resource group name. What should be the name of the resource group here, guys? Dollar
Dollar RG names.
RG names and then
Dot.
square brackets or dollar I. Because RG names is itself an array, I want to basically go ahead and take the RG names individually. And finally, I'll say name of the storage account. What should be the name of the storage account here? Storage account names dollar I.
RG.
Each and everything out here. Dot context. This is where, or this is how I'm getting the context value. And I need what? How many? 3 or 4 containers inside each and every storage account, right? I'll say dollar container or containers is equal to at the rate S01, S02, S03. 3 containers out here. I want to create 3 containers out here. So I'll say what? New hyphen AZ. What is the command? Storage container hyphen name of the container. What should be the name of the container here? Dollar containers bracket I. The dollar containers dollar I. Permission, I'll say off. Then context is what? Dollar context. Now let's execute this out. So it is able to get something. It's saying, okay, fine, the storage account name is something like this. I have went ahead and created the container inside it. So what happened here is that it created the first container into the first storage account, second container inside the second storage account, third container inside the third storage account. This is what happened because I am mentioning what? A for loop. So what really happened out here is that it did a mapping here, but I need 3 containers inside each and every storage account. So how do I do this? Array inside an array. So I'll say array inside an array, and instead of using a for loop inside this here, I'll use a for each loop. I'll use what? A for each loop out here. So instead of new hyphen AZ storage container, and I'm saying container I. So did everyone get what is the issue with this script, guys? Is everyone following what is the issue with this script? I wanted 3 containers inside each and every storage account. What happened when I executed this script was that inside the third storage account, I have, let's say, something like test container 3. The third container is, sorry, test container 2. So it mapped out something like First storage account, first container, second storage account, second container, third storage account, third container. This is what happened when I did this particular script out, which is not ideal. So what I had to do was a for each loop here. What I had to do was a for each loop here before I create a container. So before line number 7, or sorry, after line number 7, I need a for each loop. Guys, can you try this? Can you try this out? I mean, I'm okay with y'all getting the errors. I'm okay with that. I want y'all to try it. So I need a for each loop here instead of a for loop. So inside a for loop, sorry, I'm doing now a for each. And I'm saying container in dollar containers. Open up the loop here, and I will now say this one. And now I'll say this is not containers, something like this. This is dollar container. Permission of context will be context. Okay. This is the script, or this is how the logic should now form. So depending upon what is the requirement is where we kind of write the logic. It's all about trial error. Now when I wrote this, even I basically made an error telling it, okay, fine, I need 3 containers, but one container got created in, let's say, one particular storage account, which is not intended. Now after creating the containers, I also want to go ahead and upload the files. Please try this logic, guys. Please let me know where you are facing an issue. Okay, I'm here to help, but firstly I want you to try this out. Okay, any questions here, guys? Any questions, anything until here?
I want to get all the storage container names in a storage account. Can you explain that syntax?
I'm sorry, what? I didn't get you.
I want to get all the storage container names from a storage account, but I'm getting an error with that syntax. Please explain.
So I looked at your error. So that's what I said yesterday, is that when you're doing a get-az storage container, you're not passing the context to it. When I looked at your command, you're not passing a context value to it. If you don't pass a context value, you won't be able to get the container. So I want you to pass the context to it. Only when you pass the context is when you will get the container. And you're trying with a VS Code, and sometimes VS Code is giving an issue. Like VS Code is not able to load all the modules. Please try it with PowerShell ISC and pass in the context value here, Shankar. Get the context, pass the context value there. And now then let me know if you're still getting the issue. Is that okay?
Way to pass the context.
I'm sorry?
There is no. So now get -az storage container name.
Okay. Storage container hyphen name of the container. Let's say test01 hyphen, let's say, context. You have a parameter to pass in the context, right? This is where I want you to pass the context value.
Sir, I used
use PowerShell ISC, don't use VS Code.
No, not like this. I used Microsoft Docs to get the documentation of this get-az storage container. I tried the first syntax example which showed over there, but I'm getting that error.
And you're getting the error, and the error clearly specifies that it's missing on the context out there. Now, Microsoft documentations are not that accurate when you basically want to create a storage container, like a child item inside it. That's the reason I went ahead and said that I need to pass a context. Because when you're doing a get-az container, you're not passing the resource group name or the storage account name. You're not telling the command exactly in which storage account it is. So that's the reason I asked you to pass a context yesterday also. So please pass the context here. I'm asking you to explicitly pass the context here, and then check whether you're getting the same error or not.
Sir, now we are defaultly giving this 01 as the name of the storage account,
Right.
but I want to get all the.
So don't give the name.
Okay, that's what I tried it over there. Name I star that you use it to give the star in that to get all
No,
the.
I won't even give the star. I won't even go ahead and give a wildcard here. Just pass in the context here. Like I'm not giving the name, I'm not giving anything. I'm just saying get hyphen AZ storage container space hyphen context. And I'm
Right.
passing the context to get all the containers inside it.
Okay, thank you.
So please try this out. And like yesterday, if you're still facing the error, just go ahead and send me the screenshot. I'll help you out again. Okay. Okay, any more questions here, guys? So assignment here today is that firstly, try this out. Like I have a JSON file, read a JSON file, create multiple containers, sorry, create multiple storage accounts inside it. Now, can you also go ahead and try this out? Let's say I have multiple containers. Can you also specify multiple containers inside the JSON file, read it, and then create it? Can you try that? Okay, so multiple ways to approach this out. One, you can define the containers inside, let's say, the JSON file. So how do you define a container inside the JSON file out here, guys? Any question? Sorry, container names? Yes, I have three container names. I want to define the three container names inside this JSON file. How do I define it? Array, right? So what's the declaration of an array? Square brackets. So I'll say containers. I'll say open close square brackets S01, comma S02 and S03. Now your PowerShell should also go ahead and read this container, get each and every container, and then create something out. Okay. Now this is how the requirements are going to be in a real-time environment, guys. So please try doing it out. I will make sure to explain this again. Okay, if you are still not getting it, I'll make sure to explain this again, not a problem. Okay. Okay, guys, and that's it from mine today. Have a great day, and we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.